Welcome back, viewers. We're on the PI show and we're talking to Mark Dorman, one of Australia's leading experts and engineers on expert evidence and the various accidents that happen at work and supermarkets and stairs and all sorts of things, Harry. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, but before the break, we're just talking about a case that you're involved in where a young man fell over a balustrade and eventually the judge got him up, and I think the verdict was significantly high.
It was pretty big, but they took quite a bit off, Harry, because they blamed him for his own injuries.
Yeah, so look, it was a case with 10 defendants, which does lengthen the case. It was a judge alone, I think.
Yes.
Case. So
went for nearly 60 days, Harry.
60 days with 10 defendants.
10 defendants, costs were significant, and he probably got around a $1.5 million.
Yep.
That's my understanding of the case.
Yep. And another recent case, I think it went to verdict, was earlier this year, was a fall in a Frankston shopping
in a shop, a fall on a carpeted set of stairs, Mrs. Cuthbert.
And what happened there? She fell on the top step of a...
She did. She was an employee at a place that had a broad carpeted stair. She had to come downstairs to answer the phone, and she slipped on, I think, either the top landing or the first step, one or the other, and there was a proposition that the stairs were slippery, and I gave evidence on that point.
And was that carpeted stairs or carpeted? Yeah.
Good quality carpet with rounded noses, and it was the rounded noses that caught most of the attention in the evidence. I said that when people walk downstairs, it's usual to tip your foot and rely on the nose of the step, and if the traction's not high enough or the stickiness is not high enough at the nose of the step, you can slip. And we said that's what occurred.
Mark, how long after the fall did you actually go to the stairs? To the place where she fell, because I think it's pretty important to see and visualise.
I don't know exactly, but I from memory, I think it was perhaps 1-2 years even, quite a long time.
That's a bit of a concern, isn't it?
It is a concern because often the situation you find at an inspection might have changed from the way it was when the accident occurred. That's terribly important because it's what was true then that matters, obviously.
And I think the leading case is what's called Makita's case in what is an expert on things, and that was a slipping case.
That was a slipping case.
And the experts saw the stairs, I think, 9 years after.
9 years later.
After the event.
Yes.
That was a factor in the whole.
It adds difficulties to the robustness of the evidence, I suppose.
But with slipping cases, there are slipping cases in obviously supermarkets and shopping centres.
Shopping centres, supermarkets, malls, all sorts of things.
Yes.
There's a machine that does some testing.
There are 2 machines under an Australian standard that you can use to test the level of friction on a floor. Again, the circumstances of every slip or fall may differ. The mere fact that you fall down doesn't guarantee anything. To prove that there's slipperiness, we have to know whether it was wet or dry. If it was wet, what was the substance? How did it get there? Was the cleaning regime and the surveillance of the area adequate? And then we test it. There's a pendulum that's used for wet tests. There's a little creepy crawly electric machine called a tortoise that tests for dry friction. And they're very objective and very useful in assessing a particular surface.
Mark, it's not always conclusive because you say you need to know what the substance on the floor is. What if there's a combination of substances? Like there might be water, there might be sugar, there might be salt.
Coffee.
You know what I mean? Coffee. It causes all sorts of problems.
Tell me, I know how difficult that is. Only the other night we were at the casino trying to use a handkerchief to wipe across the floor, which I took away to try to work out what, if anything, had made a difference to the underlying tiles, which when clean and dry were okay. So we're looking to see what was the substance and did it make a significant difference and did it make it dangerous? Difficult to answer.
Very interesting. But Harry, there's also, slips and falls is a very interesting area, and you could go on forever, and we might have to do it on another episode, but, ergonomist, he's an ergonomist, what does that mean? Do you know?
It's used.
Ergonomics is I'm an engineer, but the ergonomics is the human side of the engineering. It's all the human aspects of strength, vision, hearing, how the environment affects you, our body size, the way we behave, the way we perceive and understand things. We add that to the technical aspects of engineering to give what you might call the human factors or the human engineering perspective on what people do, what they use, the tools we operate with, and that's how it is.
And that area of practice is very, very useful and important in course of employment type cases.
But that's
for work.
in lifting and
Oh,
things.
very much so, because the engineer can work out the weights and the forces and the distances, but then you have to know about the muscles and the tendons and the arms and the hands and the knowledge and the training.
Female and male. There's
All of
difference
that.
between males and females.
Australia's fascinating. We've got so many different ethnic races that we have to mix and match with our statistics. How tall a person is, or how long a finger is, if they put their finger through a hole and get electrocuted or chopped or whatever. You know, this is not England. It's not the US.
And in lifting, Mark and Harry, it's also the body weight of the person that's working.
Yeah, and
That's pretty critical, isn't
but
it?
there's different standards for the starting point is males and females have different weights according to Australian standards.
They do, in different sizes. And if you have a job where you have to lean forwards and stay there, you might be supporting 40 kilograms of your own body weight off centre, which is a very big lift. And that's why injury can come.
And tell me, in New South Wales, I think they've got a system which affectionately is known as hot tubbing.
Hot tubbing. Yeah.
And that's where all the experts sort of sit round and try and agree on
in
some.
a tub of champagne?
Some
Is that what it is?
hot tubbing is
I wish.
just a group just sort of sitting around a table, but that's what it's called.
Okay.
And you've been involved in
Well, I
some of
have-
these, but
the court can order all the experts in a case from all the sides or both sides to get together and try to reach agreement on as much as they can, and then to explain the areas where they still don't agree and why. And it's, I suppose, meant to shorten the process so the court can more quickly decide what evidence it's going to accept.
Well, it's a hot atmosphere because they can't really agree. isn't
sometimes
that
they
right?
can't agree on the
Oh,
facts.
it's not easy. I'm not a big fan of the process, but I can see what they're driving at. It's a good aim, but sometimes people can be very obstinate. They take positions and it's hard to reason, but it's important to do it privately and frankly, and well, you do what you can.
Has it shortened trials in your experience, Mark? or-
I think it has. The ones I've been in have ended up resolving as a result. I think where they've said, thank you very much, the liability was all settled and we've fixed it, but I couldn't say in general what it does to trial.
So you're undecided really as to whether it's useful or not. What do you think?
Oh, look, it has a limited use,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I agree with I think something you've said. or
Cross-examine
you've said,
people.
where cross-examination is important.
Yes, I agree with that.
In running a trial and seeing how valid an expert's opinion really is.
It's the ultimate test. You've said your bit. You've said, if you're cross-examined, you sink or swim on what you've got to say and how you've said it.
Harry, we're running
More
out of
often than time,
so-
you swim rather than sink.
I'd like to think so, yes.
Harry, we're running short of time, so we're going to have to thank Mark for coming on the show. It's been fantastic.
Thanks very
We'll have
much.
to get him back.
Yeah, well, I think so too.
Very,
We've
very,
only covered a limited part of
Very
what we
interesting.
wanted
I
to.
think we'll need to get him back and
yeah.
discuss other things. And,
Pleasure. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed that.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Thanks.
And,
And
we
we'll-
go into a sponsors break, Harry. So keep watching. We'll be back very shortly with Caffey's mailbag, not Biz, Caffey's. Okay, keep watching. Thank you, viewers.
Thank you.